Howdy folks, Greyhawk4x4 coming at you again, your resident vintage gamer. Today's video is going to be a recap of the marathon session, Tabletop D&D 3.5, the marathon session that we had this past weekend. And when I say marathon session, Friday night we played for 5 hours and then took a relatively short break to get some sleep. We stopped at midnight, got some sleep, started back up the next morning and played for 14 more hours straight. So we played 19 hours in 2 days. So this will be the recap of that. If you like that kind of stuff, and a lot of you have commented when I've done this before, when I've been talking about this campaign, you guys have commented that you do like it. So this might be a little bit of a long video, but some incredible happenings that occurred in this campaign, particularly in this marathon session. So if you're interested, stay tuned. Let's go. Okay, so like I said, we started. It was Friday night. We always start at 7 p.m.
Hey guys, here we go. God, I hate mirror image. I had this one sword
So here we have
huge AC and
the sustenance for
I'd reflex save the fuck
the
out.
marathon D&D session that we're having right now. This is just the beginning. We will be playing until tomorrow night around midnight. So this is the marathon D&D session.
8, 31, 36.
Yeah, it's not awful.
You're a negative Nancy. That's 36 more damage than you did.
No,
Boom!
I
Got
killed,
you!
I killed.
He's dead. Yes. So which means correct is not his anymore, correct? I think so.
Where did the mascots go? Oh, the mascots are up under there. You can't see them, it's too dark.
I got you.
I can't hear
I got
you.
you.
It's too dark in here.
AJ.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. There you can see now you can see the mascots. There's Tweedledee and Tweedledum right there.
Are you dumb?
And we went to midnight because we knew we were coming back in the morning to start the very long day of playing. So this is this is what it looks like first thing this morning after about let's see, what did we play last night? About
5 hours.
5 hours last night, and then we got 14 hours today we're gonna play. So yeah, this is all these all those these are a new encounter. All of that is what we fought last night before we
murdered last night. You got your crazy ass wizard back. So.
Yeah. So yeah, and there's a story about the crazy ass wizard, which will come later. So, and we have about 1,000 cupcakes over here, which are underneath all this stuff, which should be adequate sustenance for the D&D marathon today. So, talk to you guys later. So, if you have been following this in some of my previous videos, I've talked about this campaign. I mentioned the crazy ass wizard, and this particular marathon session saw the culmination and ultimate demise, let's just say, of the crazy ass wizard. But there's a lot that goes into that. So for those that maybe have not been following along, I'll give a quick recap of the characters. I play Grunt Furbelly, who is the dwarf barbarian, and he has an anger problem. And so barbarians are known to rage to begin with, but he has such an anger problem that he was exiled from his own clan. And so my character's goal is to try and go out in the world and do something to redeem himself in the clan's eyes and get accepted back in and somehow even help them if he can. Then you have Taborlin Greyfallow, who is our fighter, but he's also kind of a Volo, the character Volo from Forgotten Realms. He's kind of a cartographer slash scribe. He documents everything and very very copious notes, and he actually writes books based upon our adventures, and then he sells them at the major cities. He actually has them published through the bookstores and so forth in the game to earn a little extra gold and to try and get his name out there. So he does that. Then you have Lucy. We call her Lucy. She has some long ass Lucinda Chrysanthemum something. I can't ever remember it, but perhaps one of them, if they watch this video, will comment below and actually put the actual long name. But anyway, we call her Lucy. She is a little like fairy pixie sized winged. I think she's I want to say she's a pixie or a fairy, one of the two. And she's a druid. And she is extremely attached to her animal companions. Let's just say that, and that'll be relevant in a little bit. Then you have the crazy ass wizard, which we call Z. He had a long name also, but we just call him Z for his name started with Z, so we just call him Z for short. And he's always the one I call the crazy ass wizard. If you've been listening, if you've been following, you know who I'm talking about. And he has the Kawoosh wand. And as I've explained before, this was a wand magic item that the DM created and put into the world, and it found its way to Z, and it's kind of like an old Wand of Wonder where you never know what's going to happen when you use it, but it was all fire-based stuff. Like fire, it could be a fireball, it could be a like a sparkler would come out. You know, it could blow up on you, and it could just smoke could just come out. I mean, just kind of random stuff like that. But the wizard loved this goddamn thing. So that was the most important thing. And what we didn't know was the DM. He had an evil wizard had his soul imprinted into the wand. He was inside the wand, and he was speaking to Z telepathically and telling him to do evil shit. Of course, we didn't know this, so we kept just thinking Z was an asshole, you know. And so the DM is communicating and influencing him to do all this stuff. And so the bond grows between this evil wand and Z. And the culmination will happen in a minute. So that's him. And then our other character is William. And the player who plays William was playing a different character a couple sessions ago, up until he had enough with Z, attacked him. We've all attacked Z at one time or another. All of us have. But he did, and Z cast Feeble Mind on him and refused to take him back, to teleport him back to get him fixed. So we had to put that character out of his misery because he was going to leave him to be basically eaten by wildlife, feeble-minded, and he wouldn't do anything to fix him or whatever. And of course, this was all the work of the evil wizard inside the wand, and of course we don't know that. So we had to put that character out of his misery, and he rolls a new character. So now he has William, and William is what they call Blackguard, which is basically, if you've played World of Warcraft, in my opinion, he's a Death Knight. That's the Death Knight class in World of Warcraft is just like this Blackguard in 3.5. So he's like a fighter, but he's got some spell stuff that he can use, and we didn't know, but he is an evil character, alignment-wise. We obviously don't know that. He never divulged that to us, but we find that out here in a minute. So that's all the cast of characters. So we'll start off with, we had just left. We're in the Dwarven Fortress, which we've been in. It's enormous. It's monstrous, the size of this place. And we've been adventuring through here for weeks now. And I am trying to, I've got the idea in my head that I can. It's been abandoned for like 700 years. The dwarves are gone. No one knows why the dwarves left. And I've got in my mind that I can return to the throne as the new king, and therefore that will it will be evidence to show my clan that I've redeemed myself, because I'm now the king of this dwarven fortress and so forth, of this underground dwarven city, and invite them to move there, whatever. That's my ideas that are going on. And so for whatever, the start of this particular session, we had just left. We had gotten injured pretty badly, so we left to go outside. There was a camp right outside of the dungeon where we generally go back to regroup, heal, etc. And so we'd gone back there, and we got quite a bit of gold that we had looted. So some of the players had decided that Z, who can teleport at will, they would give him some money. He could go back to one of the towns, one of the main cities, and spend the money on some magic items to bring back to them to help us. And so they give him the gold. He teleports, and he has every intention of buying the things, bringing them back, and so forth and so on. But anybody that's ever used teleport knows that there is always a chance that it is going to go haywire when you teleport. And he rolled like a double zero, a double aught or whatever, on percentile dice. And the DM says, "Oh, well, you have shown up in a similar looking area to the dwarven fortress that you guys have been in, but that's not it. That's not where you are. You're someplace else." And he is literally lost inside this cavern. And he can't figure out, he can't teleport. He's too far away. The teleport has a distance thing, where if you're too far away, it won't work. So he can't teleport because there's no known location close enough that he can think of that will work with the spell. So he's panicking, and he's like, "What do I do? I don't know what else to do." And all of a sudden, the wand, of course, starts talking to him and says, "Well, if you surrender yourself to me, if you give yourself over to me, give control of yourself to me, I will get us out of here," and so forth. And he decides to do it. He's like, "Okay, yeah, I'll surrender myself." And he basically gives this evil wizard, who, by the way, turns out to be Thaleb Ka'arna, from, if you have the Deities and Demigods book from 1st edition, here's a picture of him. So if you have that 1st edition book, you can look him up. And he's a bad guy. He's a bad, bad dude. That's who's inside the wand. And so he has now surrendered himself to Thaleb Ka'arna. And he convinces him to, basically they go back and forth, but the wizard has complete control of Z now. And they negotiate somehow, and he says, "Oh, well, I'm going to let you go back and join your friends, but when I feel like taking over your body and taking control of you, I'm going to do it." And so Z knows he doesn't have any choice, so he goes along with it. So he comes back to the group just as the rest of us are fighting through a mass of ogres, hill giants. I mean, it's a never-ending fucking, and it seems like a never-ending sea of these, bipeds that are coming through doors and everything, and we're fighting them from 2 different directions, and they're trying to flank us and everything. It's a massive battle, and Z comes back just in time to help us, and we defeat everything. And you'll see later, I got some video that I took. I'm going to edit that in a little bit, and you will see the minis that are left after the battle, how many of them there were. And so, number one, by this time, he's been gone. He was supposed to have been back right away, within the day. And it had been several days, and we decided to continue on without thinking, well, he's not going to come back now. He's going to take our money. He's taking our money. And like I said, he wasn't that great a standing with us to begin with. But he had always been there for us, in battle and everything. But we thought, well, he's abandoned us now. He's not coming back. He took our money, everything else. But he shows up. And he helps us win this big battle. So, of course, the first thing we say is, hey, where the hell have you been? You know, and he starts coming up with this cockamamie. He doesn't want to tell us what has happened with the wand, because we still don't even know what is inside this wand thing. So he's telling us his bullshit story and everything, and we do a sense motive on him, and we figure out, oh, he's lying his ass off. So I confront him, and I'm like, you are lying to us, and you better come clean right goddamn now, blah, blah, blah. And he continues to lie to us and everything. And to the point where none of us trust him, but we know we need him. So, in that big battle, one of the things I looted was, there was a bunch of magic items, and everything was able to be identified, with the exception of this crystal rod thing. It was not able to be identified, and it had a bluish color to it and so forth, and I kind of figured out that's probably a quest item, and it's probably important. So I took it, and I said, I'm taking this thing. I'm going to hold on to it, because I got a feeling about this. And just about that time, the Theleb Karna guy inside the wand takes over Z's body, because he can, and he says, you mind if I take a look at that thing, you know, and he's in a different voice now. And I'm like, absolutely not. You're not coming anywhere near this thing. Get the hell away from me. And he's like, it's pointless to resist. You might as well let me look at it. And I'm like, get the hell away from me. And so we have to camp now. We're badly, badly injured after this huge fight. So we all decide to rest. And I decide I'm going to put this thing down my pants, and I'm going to sleep sitting up in the corner with my big axe across my lap like this, so that if anybody tries to go after that rod, and only one guy I can think of that would try to, I'll know it. I'll feel it, you know. So in the middle of the night, he takes control of Z's body again, and he places, you know, this hold person on me. I'm held. I can't do anything. And he reaches out and grabs this rod thing out, and he examines it, and he's looking at it. He doesn't do anything with it. But he says to me, he says, now, was that hard? You should have just let me look at it to begin with, or whatever. And then he puts it back. And so I'm freaking out. And then, of course, at some point, I'm released from being held or whatever, and I wake everybody up and I say, that goddamn Z is evil, and he held me against my will. He took out that crystal rod. He examined it. I don't know what the hell he's up to. It didn't even sound like Z. Blah, blah. And so at this point, oh, and there's one other little element to this. Taborlin Greyfowl, our other fighter, he had suffered a massive head trauma in a critical. He'd gotten criticaled at some point a couple sessions ago or whatever, and he still has a open head wound. And he has memory loss. He has memory loss of the Z character. He has no memory, and no matter how many times we tell him who he is, 5 seconds later, he turns back and he goes, who the hell is that? You know? And he still can't. So he has no memory of Z at all. And so, of course, I wake up and I'm telling him all about what this character had, you know, he'd held me and he did, you know. And so Z, of course, has no memory of who that is. He just thinks I'm yelling about an evil wizard who's outside now. And, of course, William, who is another dwarf, and he's the blackguard. We go out there, and we've had enough, and we decide we're going to kill Z because we think he's possessed or he's an evil wizard or we don't know what. And Taborlin has a mask of death or something like that. Once a day he can use it. And it's a fortitude save. If you fail the fortitude save, you're dead. And he uses the mask on Z, and he fails his fortitude check, and he dies. He kills him outright. Now, if you remember a while back, the last time I talked about this, I said I predicted that Z would die, and it would be at my hand. And I was wrong about that, because I didn't get to kill him. Taborlin did. So the second he kills him, though, so now you've got two souls inside this, because you've got the evil wizard, Theleb Karna, and you've got Z. He basically Z was animating the body at that time, so he basically killed Z. Theleb Karna takes control of the body and teleports out. Don't know where he went. Poof, gone. So Z's actually dead. He's gone. He's dead. But Theleb Karna has taken his body and gone somewhere. We don't know that. All we know is poof, he's gone. So, let's see here. I got notes here because there's so much that went on. Let's see here. Where are we at here? So, we then go outside again to the camp out there to try and recuperate again. And by this time, what we don't know is that Thelub Karna has taken control of Z's body, teleported out, and he has gone to an evil temple, and he has managed to basically advertise for a adventurer type that he wanted to his specifications, paying well, whatever, and the guy shows up, and he takes him to the temple or whatever, and has his soul transferred from Z's body into this new body. And of course leaving Z's body as a husk on the floor inside this evil temple. And then he walks out of there now complete in a different body, so we'll never be able to find Thelub Karna, as if we thought we could do anything about it anyway. And Z's dead body is there laying there. So the evil clerics in the temple have this body, and they think, we'll turn him into a zombie. That's a free zombie. You know, they're like, boom, boom. And they do their thing, you know, and he's zombified, and now he's a zombie for their labor to do stuff, you know, whatever. And then, so of course, the player who's playing Z, he has to roll a new character. So he rolls a character called Artemis, and he is like a multi-class fighter, or no, I'm sorry, wizard and cleric. He's got cleric spells, he's got wizard spells and everything. So so we're out there now outside the dungeon, and we're recuperating everything, and all of a sudden we see this guy on a Pegasus come flying up. It's actually our Pegasus. We had forgot. We left our Pegasus in the woods somewhere, and so the way the DM reintroduces this new guy, Artemis, to us is that he says he was out, you know, wandering around, and he finds this Pegasus and gets on it, and the Pegasus, you know, has a bond with us and brings him to us, you know. So, of course, he joins the party. That's the whole purpose of it, you know. He joins the party and everything. And so now Z's gone. The evil wizard, you know, Z's a zombie now and everything else. So we all, the new group now with Artemis and everything, we go back into the dungeon to continue. And the player who plays Lucy, the druid, she actually was not feeling well at this point. We'd been playing a very long time. She wasn't feeling well, so she decided to end it for the night. So she went home. So we did not have the druid now. So we go back in and to continue on, and we go into another room, and there are 3 huge beetles, and they look like they're on dung heaps or some type of matter like that. So I'm thinking they're just dung beetles, you know. And we go charging. I actually go charging in there as the barbarian, and I can't, you know, my movement, I can't get to them all the way. But the guy playing William Blackguard, he decides to do a double move or whatever. He gets in there. And he actually crits one, and I think, oh, we're doing pretty good here. You know, he took it down or whatever, and everything seems to be going okay. And here comes Tab and everything, and we have this new guy, Artemis, you know, who can cast some healing spells. And I'm thinking, okay, everything's okay. One of the other beetles, then, when it's their turn, has a sonic attack. And the sonic attack hurts us, damages us, but can also, at the same time, heal the other beetle. So I see that, you know, that happens. And then the next beetle completely crits on, I don't even know if it was a crit. He hit on every attack, claw, bite, whatever the hell he's got, on William. He does 84 hit points of damage. William only had like 44 or something like that. And the DM, and so he tells him that's 84 damage, and the guy playing William goes, dude, I'm at negative 42. I'm dead. I'm beyond dead, you know. So he basically, the DM's like, oh, he basically just picked you up in his mandibles or whatever and just liquefied you. Just splattered you. I mean, so now I'm a barbarian. I see this, and I've never done this in this campaign ever, but I see that the one beetle healed the other one while damaging us. We don't have our druid, and I just see this splatter of one of our party members, just goo. And I sound the retreat. I'm like, retreat! You know, I'm thinking, there's no way we're going to do this. And no one listens to me. So we're like, all right, I guess we're doing this thing. And we do manage to survive this somehow. So we managed to survive. I don't even know how the hell we did. We managed to kill these things. And now we have this other dead party member. And Taborlin says, well, I can take part of him, some part of him, bones or something, and I can try and get him back to a temple and get him resurrected or whatever. So we go out, and he gets on the Pegasus and decides to fly, and he flies. It takes him like 5 days, so we basically have to wait in camp for like 5 days while he tries to go back. He gets back to the main city, and turns out he goes to the temple there, and they're like, get that thing away from us. That thing's evil. Of course, we didn't know that William was an evil character. We had no idea. He'd never told us his alignment. Or what his, what his following was, who he followed, or any of that stuff. So, Taborlin's like, oh, shit, now what do I do? So he remembers there's a pirate town way away, ways away. And luckily, in this world that we're in, they have teleporters set up from city to city, so you can transport fairly easy using the teleport system. So he goes to teleport, and he goes there. And he goes to the evil temple, which is against his alignment, but he's like, I got to get this guy, try and get him raised, So he goes in there, and they're like, yeah, we can do it. It's going to cost you this much. And it's basically all the gold he has. It's really expensive. But he goes ahead and does it. And so he comes back later. He goes to the bar while they're doing their thing to raise, William. He goes to the bar, tries to pick up on some information, see if there's anything going on. Nothing. So he goes back after like an hour or two, whatever, how long it takes. He goes back. And there's William. Now, he's been raised, but he's lost a level, game level. He's gone back a level from the resurrection. And so they're there, and the DM says, oh, by the way, you see this zombie walking around in this temple. And he does a dice roll check or whatever, and he's like, yeah, and William recognizes him as Z. So they had no idea, Taborlin, when he took him back to this temple to get raised, that he was going to the very temple that Z was a zombie at. And that was absolutely organic. That shit happened. Had no idea that was where he was taking him, but it was the exact same temple. So now, here is Zombie Z wandering around, and I swear to God, as I'm sitting here, I'd never expected this. William asked the evil clerics or whatever, he's like, that zombie there, yeah, I would like that. Can I buy that zombie? He asked to buy our old party member, who is now a zombie, to buy him back. And of course, these clerics are like, get the hell out of here. No, he's not for sale. Go away or whatever. But he tried, so he's still there wandering around somewhere, but William tried to buy Zombie Z. So, anyway, so at this point now, they go back to the bar, and for whatever reason, Taborlin thought it was a good idea to leave a Pegasus tied up outside the bar in a pirate town. Needless to say, the Pegasus is no longer there. Matter of fact, he is being roasted because apparently there in that part of this world or whatever, Pegasus is a rare delicacy. And they have killed it, butchered it, whatever, and they're eating it, cooking it, roasting it, eating it, whatever. And they have no money, very little money. They have just enough to teleport back to the good city, to Tilden. And so now he's faced with Taborlin saying, okay, how the hell are we going to get back 5 days on a Pegasus ride back to the dungeon, to the Dwarven Fortress, when we're broke and we have no steeds, we have nothing. So his idea is, well, I know what I'll do. I'll go to the sages and I will tell them we've found the lost Dwarven Fortress, and maybe they will sponsor us and help get us teleported there or whatever. And we tell them, we can bring back information for you. We can bring back tomes that we find, whatever. And he goes in to talk to the sage, and the sage thinks he's crazy because the Dwarven Fortress has been lost the dwarves have been gone for 700 years from there. The fortress has been gone for 700 years. No one's found the Dwarven city, and and the guy's got Taborlin has an open head wound, so he looks like a crazy guy with a head wound, babbling about this lost Dwarven fortress or whatever. And the sage thinks he's nuts and tells him, it's better if you need to just leave or whatever. And so the player, Jonathan, who plays him, is physically getting aggravated because he's like, no, you don't understand. And he starts rambling like an actual lunatic to this guy, and he's making it worse. And so he gets kicked out of there, and he starts going anywhere he can, just like a raving lunatic would, and he's like, I need help. You don't understand. I'm trying to find the Dwarven Fortress. We found it. Blah, 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 blah. And his he's got an open head wound that's oozing and everything. And everybody start thinking that there's a raving lunatic running around the streets trying to tell people about this lost Dwarven Fortress or whatever. And they call the city guard. The city guard comes, and they know us pretty well. They take him back to our home bar, our home tavern, which we call Lou's. It's not the name of it, but we call it Lou's because the bouncer is named Lou, and he's hilarious. And he goes back there, and he's sitting there, and we'd already put money on account there just in case we ever needed their services. We were broke and we needed a room or something we'd already thought ahead and given them some money, so he was able to get food and drink and and all that. But he's sitting there, and he's thinking, he goes, wait a second, my parents live here in Tilden, and so at the end of the night, he basically makes it back to his home, his parents' home, and has to go back in there and explain why he has an open head wound and where he's been and everything else. And that's where we end it for this session. So it was freaking hilarious. When he tried to buy that zombie, we all lost it. Anyway, so that's the campaign. That was 19 hours. I basically, condensed 19 hours of gaming down into that little bit. I did everything in little, shorthand and shit, trying to basically encapsulate everything. But yeah, so we lost. Oh, and in that big battle, where we're fighting however many ogres and hill giants and everything else, where Z comes back finally, the druid's dire bear was killed. And she loved that dire bear, and he was killed. So we ended up losing the dire bear. We lost Z, thank God, finally. And it wasn't Z's fault. He was being influenced by that goddamn wand. And then, of course, we lost our Pegasus. So the losses could have been worse. We did lose William for a while. He got liquefied, and then luckily he got brought back and only lost a level. But that is the condensed version of this crazy-ass group's adventures in this 3.5 campaign. My voice is shot. It's over a 30-minute video, which means most of you probably aren't even watching this far. So I could say rubber baby buggy bumpers, and nobody will ever know it because no one's still watching this video. So anyway, if you are still watching, we'll catch you on the flip side.